There is an epidemic going on right now among people in their 20s and 30s, and the worst part is, most people don't even realize it's happening to them. Like, let me know if this scenario sounds familiar. Imagine you wake up with hopes to be productive for the day, but you immediately scroll before heading into work, where you just drift by until you finally get home, but you're too tired to do much, so you just sit on the couch and scroll for a couple of minutes, and that becomes hours. But now it's time for bed, and you kind of get angry at yourself because you feel like there's just not enough time in the day to pursue what you want to do. So you just swear tomorrow will be the day, and you start to head to bed, and then you rinse and repeat for months or even years. People are watching their lives pass them by and wasting their 20s, and it's not necessarily our fault. Like before, if you wanted to waste your 20s, you had to actively distract yourself or make bad decisions. But now the distractions find us, and they are endless, and they are engineered to keep us stuck in place. And I know this is happening to people in their 20s because I was one of them. I had high ambitions, but I was stuck in this loop of, oh, tomorrow I'll have time to do it. I won't do it today. But the system is meant for that now. Distractions are everywhere, and they are easier to fall into than ever before. So I wanted to share 3 reasons why it is so easy to get distracted and waste your 20s, and some of the tips that I've used to combat falling into these traps. And the biggest trap of them all, like I mentioned earlier, is scrolling and wasting time. And I think I created a pretty good rule of thumb to follow if you want to stop mindlessly scrolling. But before we get to that, we have to understand how we got here, and it wasn't by accident. Short form content really took off with the introduction of TikTok, or when YouTube created Shorts and Instagram added Reels. I remember it was during COVID, so we were all cooped up in our houses, and I was an avid YouTube user and would not be caught dead watching TikTok because short form content at that time was for babies. But then within a 3-month span, Shorts and Reels were created, and this was like the brain rot floodgates opening. Shorts were like the Wild West, so as people started using them, these companies started to realize there is a lot of earning potential. So the algorithms got stronger and the content was being catered specifically to you. Now when you go on these feeds, you aren't seeing anything you're actually following or subscribed to. It's just showing you what the algorithm has handpicked for you to ensure that you stay on their platform for as long as possible. And the time we spend scrolling, it's doing nothing for us. Hours upon hours of wasted time. And the problem lies, you don't even remember what you watch. You don't realize how much time is passing you by. If I asked you what the last short or reel you watched was, could you describe it for me? I know I couldn't. And if I was a betting man, I bet you couldn't either. And your brain rewards you with dopamine, the same thing you get for completing a hard task like painting your walls. Your brain gives you for seeing something like the Italian brain rot memes. What the fuck? So of course, when you muster the courage to stop scrolling, your dopamine is tanked. So you have absolutely no motivation to do stuff like challenging yourself. And bro, I can speak from experience. There were days I used to do nothing except just melt into my couch and put off my responsibilities. But luckily I caught myself, and that leads me to how I'm trying to take back my life from these addictions, and hopefully it can help you guys too. The most obvious solution is just to go 0 dark 30 and delete these apps that are just wasting your time. Instagram, TikTok, Tinder, LinkedIn, Snapchat, whatever the case may be, I think going cold turkey is the move if you're struggling with this. Or if going 0 dark 30 doesn't sound good to you, I think using a screen time blocker app or something that limits the use. I found those to be very helpful if you want to keep the apps but still use them on occasion. But here's the scary part. It's not just scrolling that is dangerous. Our brains are being rewired to reward us for doing absolutely nothing. And deleting apps is a great start, but it won't matter if you're not taking action. And the second trap is a lot more subtle than just scrolling on TikTok. In an article I read, it summed up this trap perfectly. It said, now the cost of feeling judged feels higher and the escape from action is easier. And that is so true. Nowadays, it is so easy to hide and escape from taking action. And that's why the second trap of wasting your 20s is waiting for the perfect time and caring what other people think. You used to feel guilty like a bum if you just sat around and did nothing all day, like what Joey Diaz says in this clip.
Yeah. You meet somebody, they don't do nothing. They don't do nothing. They don't date, they don't do drugs, they don't play checkers, they don't do nothing.
But now it feels like you can just be watching videos or playing games or do what I was doing, which was kind of like a mental crutch for me. It was this thing I used to call the researching mirage. I would research the project I wanted to work on, and I would watch hours of YouTube for preparation, which is fine, but I never took any action. My brain was wired to say, hey, Colby, you put in the effort by researching this topic, so, you made progress today. And I never really ended up acting on my dreams. I would just stay in this constant flow of, I'm preparing for my dreams, so I must be making progress. I was putting off the actual work that had to be done. It's like I was subconsciously running away from the grind like a loser. And social media doesn't help this at all either, because on social media, you only see people's successes. You never really see their failures or the work that is put in behind the scenes. And you can't wait for this perfect time, because in reality, there will never be a perfect time. And we are subconsciously not only delaying our goals, but our dreams by waiting for this fake ass optimal time. I've been trying to put a system in place for when I don't feel like doing something that I can mentally overcome it. But before I explain that, we need to figure out why it's easier to feel rewarded for doing less. I believe that modern times are very comfortable relative to any other time in human history. So the urgency and the pressure to act is diminishing because it's comfy just sitting on your couch and scrolling and being a fucking chud. And on the flip side, I don't want to sound like these red pill guys and preach this ultimate grind set mentality, because I don't think that's effective or healthy either. But I think it gets to a point where you need to take some sort of action. Otherwise, you are just becoming a spectator of your own life. And that is one of the scariest things that can happen to you. And I don't think our lives are over when we turn 30 by any means, but the habits and how we move and the mindset that we have in our 20s now is probably the base of how we act in our 30s and 40s. Obviously, I don't know that for sure. So if you're out of your 20s, leave a comment below. Let me know, how hard is it to change your mindset within your 20s comparatively to your 30s and beyond? And also, do you have any regrets in your 20s that you wish you did or didn't do? I feel like the simple lack of action is causing us to waste so much time. And I have two specific rules in my life that try to help me for when I don't feel like doing something. And this first thing is called the 5-minute rule. So if I have chores or going to the gym or something that I don't particularly want to do, I start doing it for 5 minutes. And if after 5 minutes I still hate it, I'll stop and take a break. But what I've found is usually after 5 minutes, the hardest part is just starting. So after 5 minutes, you're like, oh, let's keep this momentum going, baby. And you just grind it out rather than just sitting on your couch. And the second rule I follow is the 2-minute rule. And this is for those smaller tasks like taking out the trash or making your bed, and you don't particularly want to do it, but you do it anyways. So the rule is that if you know a task will take less than 2 minutes, don't even think, just act. Because the more you think, the more you'll be like, oh, it's such a waste of time. And I found that a lot of those smaller tasks kind of clutter your brain. And when you do them, it frees up space to be creative or be productive or just be relaxed. Now, you may think wasting your 20s is just about wasting time, but it doesn't really stop there. In our 20s, these are the prime years to set ourselves up for financial freedom because the power of time is on our side. And you would think that getting wealthy is the easiest that it's ever been. Look at all of these day traders or crypto bros, for example. They're all millionaires by 22. We must be doing something wrong with our lives. But in reality, society has laid 3 large financial traps on the ground, and we have to dodge these things like we're some sort of James Bond super spy. It's unsuspecting, but places like Chipotle and Disneyland are being used as vehicles to put us into debt. And it's leaving us financially stuck and wasting our prime financial years. So let me explain. Let's say you have no money to your name, but you're really hungry and you want to get a Chipotle burrito for $15. Please bring back Prime Chipotle. And you can buy it using these buy now, pay later apps. So you don't even need those $15 in your bank account. You can instead just pay 4 installments of $5 or something like that to get the burrito in your tummy. People are going into financial debt for fucking Chipotle. Let that get into your head. You end up paying more for this burrito using these payment plan apps than you would if you just bought it straight up. And before you comment, finance bros, oh, that's how interest works. I know. And a burrito is the least of our problems. People are now financing cars for more than 10 years and are paying ridiculous amounts of interest. And some people are even going into debt for fucking Disneyland. I don't care how bad my future kids want to go and see Mickey and Goofy. If I can't afford to pay my bills, I am not going to take them to see these creepy ass mascots and wait 2 hours in line for a singular ride. It is so easy to get into debt these days because banks and financial institutions realize that people suffer from this instant gratification syndrome. People have no patience because they want that reward now. They would rather pay more now to have that feeling than just wait a couple months. Companies like Klarna or Affirm are charging like 20% interest to these fools who use their services, so they would be very happy to hear my next point, which is that over half of the people who used a buy now pay later service were late on at least one payment. Before, bad debt was really only credit cards and a car payment, but now you can have debt for Chipotle, McDonald's, or DoorDash, or Lululemon. On its own, going into debt for these kinds of things is certified clown-like behavior, but the kicker is, I know as cliche as it sounds, you are wasting the most important years of your life financially instead of setting yourself up for a comfortable, relaxing financial future. And if you're like me, you would never dare to take on this kind of debt. But the system is weaponizing something that a lot of us hold near and dear to our hearts, which is sports. Odds are, if you watch any kind of sporting event these days, there is usually a DraftKings or a Prize Picks ad attached to it, and it is absurd. Nowadays, every single commercial break, there is a sports gambling promotion, or even the commentators are talking about the odds during the broadcast.
Fish, you hit that parlay, right?
I did hit the parlay. First one this season.
It's become so ingrained in our brains that I don't even blame people for blowing money on sports betting. But unless you're a top 5% gambler in the world, you are going to lose money because the system is meant for you to lose and it preys on its users. There was a couple of months stretch in my life where I needed 1 or 2 parlays up so I could have something to look forward to throughout the night. That is a serious red flag. And don't get me wrong, writing a bet with your boys and watching the game live is an otherworldly experience, but doing some of the stuff that I was doing, like betting alone or betting on sports that I didn't even watch. Like one time I bet on curling. Trust me, bro, I do not know shit about curling. And not to mention the emotional toll that it can have on you if you miss your parlay by like 1 rebound or 1 point. I don't think our brains were wired to have that sort of roller coaster of emotion in such a short span of time. Now, gambling is an obvious financial trap, but there is a low-key invisible one that I call frictionless spending. It's a way of spending where your brain does not even register that the cash is leaving your pocket or your bank account. And it's one of the reasons why it's so easy to fail financially in your 20s. At least gambling is still kind of taboo, but what's not is frictionless spending on everyday items. Now, retail stores like Target and Walmart have these huge online presences, and they make it so easy to buy stuff. Like you can be checked out on Amazon in less than 4 clicks. That's what frictionless spending is. Now you don't need to think about what you want to buy because you can buy whatever, whenever, without thinking. Where before in the olden days, you would have to have physical cash or write a check. Now you don't even need a physical card anymore. You can use your tap to pay on your phone, which we all have. So spending money on useless shit is easier than ever. And I saw someone at Whole Foods pay for their groceries using their hand. I'm not a financial expert and this is not financial advice, but in my opinion, the biggest thing to stay out of these financial traps is tracking where your money goes. Every expense you have, put it in a spreadsheet. I know that sounds like a lot of work and it's kind of annoying in the beginning, but if you just set up a simple Google Sheet spreadsheet and you just track everything that leaves your account, you will become aware of where all of your money is going. And there's probably some people out there that are like, Colby, I'm a grown-ass man. I don't need your advice for finances, which is a valid point. I'm just sharing my thoughts, and I think every financial expert in the world would tell you the same exact thing. I truly believe now the system is designed to make wasting your life the path of least resistance. But lucky for us, we don't have to do anything spectacular today to take back our lives. We just have to be aware of these hidden traps and stop ourselves when we realize we're in them. And when you close your eyes tonight, you stop for a moment and realize you are no longer living your life on autopilot. And I challenge everybody who made it to this part of the video to comment one thing that you want to stop or start doing to take back your life and make sure you're not caught in a wasteful decade. Before we know it, we will be 30, 40, 50 asking ourselves, Damn, where did the time go? But with that, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please make sure to like and subscribe as we are closing in on that 500 subscriber mark. I'm so excited. Thank you all so much. And also a big shout out to Polly Walnuts and JP Finance for inspiring this kind of video. Peace.